Welcome, my loves. This is another opportunity for Red Thread to connect with some of our authors. We have a new book out as of this morning, Sanctuary, Cultivating Safe Space in Sisterhood and Rediscovering the Power that Unites Us. This book has done really, really well so far in the rankings. We are #1 in a bunch of categories in a couple of countries. And I'm joined today by some of our authors, and a few more may join us momentarily, and just a couple of other community members who are here to celebrate our accomplishment. Welcome, Mira. Welcome, Mimi, Marie. Nice to have you with us. I always like to invite in authors, and here we are rolling in, because today being such a significant moment in the birth of a book, I wanted to bring you together and give you an opportunity to share a little bit just about who you are in the world, briefly, what your chapter's about, without giving away any of the delicious spoiler alerts, and ask you to share a little bit about your author's journey. So who wants to start? Let's just start with who you are and where you are on the planet. No big deal, just who you are. Mimi, take it away.
Okay, I'll start. Number one, I'm a published author. Number two, I am Sierra's mother. And I am in Medellin, Colombia. And I am so grateful to Red Thread for the opportunity to become published. And there was a whole lot of support, and I really appreciate it. And I love that the company is for women's voices to be heard, because more than ever, that isn't needed. So blessings to all of you, and let your voice be heard.
Yes, it's never too late, it's never too early, but it's always needed, especially right now. Awesome. And Frances has joined us. So we're just checking in. Who are you in a nugget? Where are you on the planet? And then we'll get to the rest of the stuff. Mira, Frances, who wants it? Unmute yourself and rock and roll.
Well, I'm on the other side of the world from you. No, I'm Mira, and I live in Sweden. I'm a published author. And this is I did a count. This is my 8th bestseller.
That's amazing.
Every time it's a wonderful rodeo anyway.
Wonderful rodeo, I like it.
For this opportunity. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, so glad you're with us. Thank you for sharing your voice yet again. It does not get old. Frances.
Hi, I'm Frances Trejole. I'm in Southern California, a small farming town called Imperial. It's actually about 5 minutes away from where I was born. So I didn't hear all the other questions. There's a lot of glitchy stuff.
Perfect. Let's roll into what's your chapter about? And I know, like, the intention of that question is multifolded. One is to give future readers just a glimpse of what they're going to get in the book. Definitely, you don't have to read us the whole chapter or any of it, but in a sentence or two, what's your story? When you were asked and thought about writing in a book called Sanctuary, what comes to your heart, and what did you share? Frances, do you want to go ahead since you're right
Sure.
there?
So what popped into my mind was a time where I really needed support from other women. I had just moved to another country and I was pregnant, and my whole network was not there. So in a nutshell, I created it. And my story it's just how it happened. It was like an intuitive thing. And what it made me think about in context of the book, it's like every time I needed to move on or needed help, there's always been a group. But nothing was more profound than that specific group, because it was women, and I mean, who else is going to talk to you about motherhood? Not a bunch of guys.
Yeah. Can I, and you're, okay, I have a question, but I'm going to hang on to it and check in with everybody else. What are your chapters about? And then I'm definitely going to come back because Frances has something brewing already. Mimi, can you, Mimi, unmute yourself?
Okay. My chapter is called Deep Listening, and it was really about how I learned to trust my own inner voice and my intuition to lead me to my next steps. And interestingly, having been a psychotherapist for years and knowing that I was an INFJ in the Myers-Briggs, I read something about it the other day that just blew my mind. It was like, oh, of course, I've always been looking for that deep, deep connection. Duh. So, we keep learning. But it was trusting the inner voice that came to mind immediately when I thought of sanctuary.
Yeah. One of the things we say at Red Thread all the time is we write to discover what we know. And sometimes it's like, did I know that? Do I know that? Or we're rereading our own work and we're like, this is really good. Who wrote this? This is some smart ass stuff right here. Like, oh, that's me. Oh yeah. Oh, that's me. Cool. Yes. Mira, when you were thinking about what to share, what came up for you and what's your chapter in a nugget?
My chapter in a nugget is actually about raising my voice about the old ways, since I live very close to my heritage and manage it, the female ancestors. And I'm very fortunate to have been doing it all my adult life. I never had a real job, kind of. I had a real job, but I got sacked. So here I am. And I also present a side of the primordial vibration of the runes, because it is a Nordic tradition, very close to heart. So that's about it.
Love it. That kind of magic, Adrienne is with us. Welcome, my love. We're checking in on who are you? What's your chapter about in a nugget? And yeah.
All right. So hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Adrienne McKeon. I am a best-selling author and an inspirational speaker and an innovation coach. My chapter in a nugget, I really wanted to do something funny. I wanted to kind of lift the spirits and bring some humor into the situation. So I talked about a time in my life that was actually a very dark and sad time, but how humor helped me through it and how creativity helped me through it. This is a chapter about a weird kind of sisterhood with an imaginary friend that I created at a very dark time in my life, and how she taught me not to take myself and my life so damn seriously, and to remember that I always have the power to create joy for myself, no matter what is going on.
I love collaborative books because we never know what's coming, right? And we each come to a concept, a title, an idea with our own perspective, with our own gifts, and that it really, we talk about things in a lot of different metaphors. A book is a baby, but a book like this keeps coming up to me. It's like a chorus. There's different harmonies and melodies and rhythms, and we all come together with very different pieces of a story, and together we make music and we make magic. So I love the collaborative, energy that comes, because what my perspective on sanctuary is completely different than somebody else's or everybody else's, and together we deepen and enrichen. Editor Adrienne, is this a word? Enrichen. It's a word now, because it has been spoken into being. We enrichen this concept for ourselves. I don't think it's a real word.
Enrich.
I don't know. I like it. I'm gonna stick with it. We enliven and enrich the concept for ourselves, and we deepen what it means to have sanctuary, find sanctuary, cultivate sanctuary, offer sanctuary, for ourselves, for others, for one another, and then collectively. And so it's just such a pleasure to share this space and hear the various stories. Red Thread is, as you know, always on a mission. And our current mission is to support 10,000 women to become successful published authors, authorpreneurs, thought leaders, overall general badasses. And through the journey of becoming a published author, I watch a lot happening. I watch the stories be born and evolve. I watch the authors, I watch the women become authors, transform and change. And as this moment, this morning, the book is, even last night, Frances has friends in Australia who are reading and reviewing already because it is tomorrow already there. And so then I get to see these stories play out in the hearts and minds of all the readers. And I feel very grateful to be in that unique position of getting to see all of those things. As authors, now multi-time authors, first-time authors, I want you to share a moment of what your experience, just sort of highlight your author journey. What has it been to share, Mira in your 8 books, Adrienne in your 8 books, Mimi in your 2 books, Frances in your first book, whether it's this journey or overall, because each of you in some way said, like, share your voice. I shared my voice. This podcast is to celebrate your accomplishment, but I also want to make it impossible for anyone out there who has that little itch, who has that yearning, who has that, maybe someday I should, I've always wished I could, that we grease those wheels and we light a fire underneath them. So it's these, I know the stories, right? Because I got to witness them. So I would love for you to share the step that before you said yes, the steps that happened along the way, and or what's coming next. Any and all of that is the richest fruit for all the women who are on that edge and have not yet said, I'm a published author, or I'm becoming a published author. So unmute yourselves, go wild. I'm not gonna oversee this process. I just want you to share anything that comes to your heart.
I go first.
Go ahead.
The thing is, me being in this book actually has its base in pure prayer or magic. Since I had been thinking about my life, I did a big move and all of this, and opened up my journal, because I tend to write when I don't have a solution. I write or draw pictures. And the thing is that I journaled and sat in my car and saw a thing on the sky, 2 halos on the sun and 2 rainbows. And I wrote about it to Sierra later on when I connected the dots. Because when I came home and opened up my computer, there was an offer from Sierra, would you please like to participate in Sanctuary? I think you have a story to share. So I just actually did what I'm supposed to do in this life, open up my heart and listen to the signs and just do the stuff needed. So it's kind of magical.
Oh, it's so magical, man. Oh man. For me, I've been struggling with looking at my life story, and well, I won't say struggle, but writing about my memories. And so Sanctuary was really the invitation for me to realize when I really started taking charge of my own journey instead of going where the wind blew. But my my contribution to the other book, Feisty, was super important to me because I wrote about a very serious trauma, and it totally allowed me to take my power back. So I think for anyone who is on that edge that Sierra talked about, it's definitely worth it to just go for it. You will never be sorry about that.
I talked a lot about this, and I'm going to do it again. For me, it's so important to take our stories off of our eyes and look at them as stories, because otherwise we're looking through the world, you know, through them at the world, and not even realizing that they're clouding what we're seeing. We're seeing the world through this story that we tell ourselves about ourselves, and it becomes our identity. But that's not our identity. It's a story. And when we can take that story off and then look at it and see it as a story, we realize it's not for us anymore. The experience was for us, the lessons were for us, but the story is for someone else, to inspire them to get through something that they're struggling with, to inspire them to level up to their next level. So your story isn't actually yours anymore. Once it becomes a story, it's for the world. And so that's why it's so powerful to give our stories away. Then we can move on from them and have new adventures.
My journey started like a little bit before the pandemic. I was searching for something, and I thought, okay, I'm going to start a crochet group and organize all the people in my town. And like, because the pandemic had hit, how are these crafters going to sell their stuff? And I want women to make an income. And I started talking to someone. Her name is Hallie Avolio, and she has this group, and she had this like be limitless. So I started taking courses. I've always turned to courses to see beyond myself, and that functioned as a women's circle. I made friends there. Sierra was somewhere in that mix. I'm not sure exactly what, but I took one of her courses, and I've always been a person who's been searching. And I forgot to mention that when I moved to where I live now, it was 2007, and I didn't have a job anymore. I left teaching. I had a stressful time being a teacher and a mother at the same time. When we returned from Australia, I spent 3 years there. Sorry, it's all over the place. But I had an attack of Bell's palsy from the stress. And I knew I had to do something different. And so I did. When we moved back to close to my parents, my son went to school. He had all these peanut allergies, and I immersed myself in motherhood. But, lo and behold, my son turned 18. So I needed something else to do. It's like, I can't just, do this all the time. I tried different things, selling products or whatever, and it just didn't fulfill me. So I started searching. I started learning about intuition, realizing that most of my life, I'm 50 now. And when I started searching at 40 something, close to 50, I been suppressing my intuition. I had been, I learned, okay, spirituality. I hadn't, I had gone to church as a teenager and found, sanctuary there a long time ago, but I had left it for my reasons. And then this whole new world opened up. It was like things like tarot, things like synchronicities. There was just so many things. And then one day I was in a really good place. Life throws things at us and we try to figure out how to get through them on our own a lot of the time. And then other times, sisterhood really gets us through things. My husband suffered a heart attack in May of last year. And, you do what you do. You call the ambulance, do what you need to do. And, by the end of all that, he's fine. He's doing well, very healthy. By the end of that, I had some PTSD and I started, feeling like angels were with me and feeling called and comforted at a spiritual level in a way that I hadn't in years since I was a teenager. And it got me through that. And so I was in a really good place searching for, what do I do next? I'm here. I hear you. What do I do next? And lo and behold, there was an ad for, what if writing was easy? What if you could publish a book and it was easy? So to me, it was like, yes, tell me more. And I looked into it and it was like, I had always wanted to write a book. Since I was a little girl, I loved books. I love stories. My connection to spirit is always visual. I thought I just had an overactive imagination. No, it's more than that. So writing a book was in my future, and doing it this way is, I had tried to I had things on papers and trying to write my own book, and it was such a mess every time. Then I read books about writing books and it's like, well, you have to write every day. And it was like, but this is crap, what do I do with all these pages? So coming to Red Thread and being supported and learning about a process that still lets me have a life, a cycle of taking care of yourself, and then you're organizing your book, and then there's executing your book, and then there's revising. It just felt so simple. It's still work. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's work. And most of the work is just getting your ego out of the way. And so I feel like doing the marketing the way we did, sharing with 50 people, sharing why you wrote the book. I felt like it dusted the rest of my ego. It's, thank you very much. That's not my story anymore. I'm this other person. I'm stepping into something else. And I feel like leading a women's circle for me is going to be the thing for a while, and see where that goes. I think it's much needed right now. Much like how I was empowered to become a mother with the first group that I was with, not even knowing a framework for a women's circle. I just kind of organically shared my vulnerability with other women, and they responded. Women I didn't know. And that just made such a huge impact on my life. And I have friends in Australia, and the story is about them. So of course, it's perfect that the book opened there first and they're responding to me. And I didn't tell them it was about them. So it was a big surprise to them and a gift. And I feel like the empowerment that writing offers is unparalleled. Becoming an author just shoved all those stories out of the way. there's just no room for them. And especially just sharing your why with people, yourself, as opposed to some marketing team somewhere else. Yeah, so I'm in a space of like, I don't recognize myself. I'm having a wonderful time. I'm tired, but it's like happy puppy energy, you know. I'm just so full of gratitude this morning, that I got to fulfill a lifelong dream, but it's not an end. It's an absolute beginning. And I can kind of see where it's going, but I'm excited that I don't see everything.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be surprised.
I love it. So that's it. A book was born, and authors have been born. And Frances said it really well, that we often think of publish date as the end until we're there. And then it very much is the beginning of all that comes next. I want to honor all the women who have shared in this. I'd like to thank all of the people who pre-ordered the book before this morning, and everyone who is cracking it open for the first time this week. One of the things I feel like my job is to help women become authors, but I think it's also to teach and support readers the strength and influence that they have. So book reviews are incredibly valuable to us. That feedback, as well as, analytics and all the good stuff on that end, but just hearing how a story has touched a stranger, how our voice impacts another is the final piece that brings all of this effort together. So for folks who have the book, we want to know you. We want to see a picture of you like this, holding the book. When you've had a chance to read a little bit, post a review, Amazon, Goodreads, all of that stuff is so incredibly valuable. I know, I think, even doing all this work, I still like, does my review really matter? Should I? Yes, it really matters. I got a message from somebody who picked up my book in a bookstore, and I was like, oh, that's cool. In Iowa. Never been to Iowa. Somebody's reading my book in Iowa, and she said, it came into my life at the best time. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm living on that comment. It's been 2 weeks and I'm living on it. And so we are in a relationship together, authors, writers, readers. We are feeding and fueling one another. And so I want to thank the authors who have put their voice out into the world, finding that and cultivating that space in themselves, stepping forward. And then I just want to thank all of the readers, current and future. Congratulations, my loves. You are published authors. Way to go. Well done. Yay.